I joke sometimes that I have the most useless master's degree on the face of the planet. And people usually say, oh, I'm sure it's not that bad. And then when you tell them that your master's is in Latin and ancient Greek, they're like, no, you appropriately assessed the usefulness of that. I thought, okay, how can I make this degree really useful and relevant and helpful for the community? So I pulled out the writing, the editing, the translation, the research skills, and this really interesting kind of analytical approach to language. So I've initially created a business called Crystal Clear Resources. That was a writing, editing, and translation business. So we translated to and from 27 different languages. That's part of where I started working with some local nonprofits in terms of accessibility of language and how do we turn some of the materials into something that can be accessible in many of the different languages that we speak in the area. In the midst of the pandemic, I actually ended up doing communications for a tech startup. So they were in the tabletop role-playing game space, so Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder, which was a blast. Sometimes you pick up skills randomly that you weren't expecting to need, and then you need them desperately later. When I bought the business news, I used to joke that for a while I was kind of the top and the bottom rung of this ladder. And since I was the CEO, I was setting the strategic direction for where we were going. And then about a week later, I would turn to the editor and say, okay, where do you want me to put the strategic direction I just came up with in the paper? Because I was also the layout person, because I could do that. I get to help share people's stories about the businesses that they're doing. I help to make sure that they're, as informed as possible about what's happening in the business communities. I love what I do. And for me, one of the most important things is, how do we continue to bring value to the community? How do we bring value for businesses? And how do we be additive to the conversation? When we start getting conversations between industries, when we start getting conversations between generations, when we start having conversations between cultures, I think that's going to be a catalyst for some really incredible potential for where we can go next.